Hi, Scorpio rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 16th of March until the 23rd of March. So, your ancient ruler Mars is quite a key player this week, which is placed actually in your fifth house, and it's going to be making a beautiful trine to Jupiter. So, this could be a green light, for example, for travel plans, as well as it could be a green light in your romantic life. But you do have got a massive reset happening in your sixth house, which is the house of daily work and health. Also, and of course, that's a Mars ruled territory also. And this week you might be receiving a fated message. Maybe it's connected to a romantic endeavor or a creative project due to Mercury passing through the North Node a couple of times. Once it's retrograde motion, and once it's going to be a direct motion. So let's get going. I mean, this is quite a big week. Your ruling planet Mars is quite a central character in this celestial, drama. It is highlighting the house of creativity, joy, and romantic life. And if you have been looking for a fated redirection in your creative ventures, for example, then that Mars can actually grant you. It is pushing you to go towards something. And of course, that fated redirection comes from the Mercury and North Node conjunction as well. But this is not a state of reevaluating the joy, for example, in your life, or how you play things out on a daily basis when it comes to your romantic life. This is not just about organizing your life this week. This is about kind of like engineering the fundamental systems that you have created. And sometimes you have to go back to basics, and you are getting reminded for that. Now, back in mid-February, you already had a Mercury and North Node connection. Maybe you had some discussions about a creative project, or you talked about the future of your existing relationship, or you had talks about how to raise a child, whether we want to have a child, or even investment opportunities. But these things might have gone a little bit quiet. Now it comes back to you with a bit of a twist, actually. So you might receive a message from an ex of yours, and then they want to get back together with you. Or maybe you have been wanting to go for an exhibition and then you didn't have the tickets, for example. And then now all of a sudden a ticket might just somehow show up. Or you have been wanting to go on a date and then maybe you gave up on it, but then actually the guy calls you back. Sorry, my mom was sick due to health issues, spices, and so forth. But this is asking you to look at the deep truth, what joy means to you, and what gives you that source of joy that you need so that you can arrange your life a little bit better. Now, the sun is even highlighting your fifth house this week with a sextile to Uranus. So it really can be a great financial breakthrough because you have got these genius kind of creative sparks. So this could be a business collaboration, for example. It could be a contractual agreement signed, for example, with a gallery, if you are on the artistic side. But of course, this could be also talking to you about sparking up, bringing some excitement back into your relationship, or potentially you are ready to show your talent to the world, or you are ready to stand out of the crowd, being somehow distinct, and then I'm going to show that distinct talent to others. And you can get quite a lot of attention as well. So don't be shocked if people start turning around on the streets and so forth. However, we do have got a Venus and Jupiter square as well, which we might need to be slightly bit careful about. This could be about overpromising, overstretching yourself at work. Or you might feel like that, yes, I have completed the work, and then we want to go and celebrate, and then we're gonna, splurge on something expensive. And then just you realize that unfortunately, maybe I have to be redoing something here. But Even with a square, this could give you work opportunities as well, just like a new work opportunity. But don't get too excited about it. That's the whole point. Make sure that you reread the fine print and so forth, because this Venus and Jupiter can get super excited. I think Isis and Apollo entering your ninth house, that's about the restoration of your own faith. This is Apollo trying to show you something ethical here, and Isis is trying to reassemble your beliefs. Maybe or maybe you haven't had an aim in your life, or kind of like your belief system was a little bit more on the negative side. And then Isis is trying to kind of recreate that moment. It wants to rebuild your philosophical structure, and of course, it can give you that boost you need to be able to grow further. For example, in your career as well as in your romantic life. Even Eros enters your ninth house as well. So you might be, for example, become very passionate about relocation or moving somewhere or visiting a place. This could really talk to you about meetings, for example, a foreigner, which whom with you can have a fling or just a great discussion, really. But we are very kind of like desire to do something together. And I really like I said, the Mars trine Jupiter as well, which is Jupiter is in a very favorable house. The ninth house is the house of expansion anyway, and Jupiter wants us to expand something. So it wants us to expand our worldview when it comes to those creative talents, unique artistic projects. Maybe you commit to a long distance move. Maybe you're ready to figure out your passion about teaching and then you want to share that with others. There is a philosophical luck with Jupiter. And then if we take action on that, then basically it can really connect us with the right mentor. It just, you don't have to push it. This kind of like support from that teacher, that mentor, that legal system, and so forth, it just comes your way. And Mars is you, so the personal luck is on your side this week. Imagine this as a winning. So even it can indicate that it's good to be playing the lottery, for example. It's good to be taking a bit of a bold move, just not so bold, because remember, while Mars is trining Jupiter, Venus is squaring it. So it's not about financial gambling, it's about taking a chance on yourself, on a partner, trusting someone, putting the faith into your own talent. Then this should be actually working out very, very nicely. Now, the Sun moves into your sixth house and makes a conjunction to Neptune and Saturn as well. And that's a regenerative reset for you. That's a reset of your work. So, starting a new work, starting a new health habit, this is a massive turning point when it comes to that daily system that you have created for yourself. And it might be an indication that it's time to change that. Like how I function on a daily basis, taking care of your vitality a little bit more. Having a heavy fifth house means it's very artistic. And then having a sixth house, it's about a health dream. So we're going to have to create that structured plan. We're going to have to commit to it. We're going to have to put the hard work to kind of secure that. So therefore, this could be a new work contract. This could be formalizing, for example, a treatment plan and protocol with your doctor. Or, but, Saturn and Neptune conjunction doesn't get highlighted every single day, right? And this is a new 36-year plan. So whatever you start doing this week, you might do that for the long run. Just remember that this wouldn't be about um, just like moving towards something without any type of plan. Otherwise, Saturn won't work. That Saturn is trying to anchor your core power. It wants to give you a blueprint. The blueprint needs to be well put together. Even Juno in your third house is making a beautiful trine to Uranus as well in your seventh. So if you went on date at the beginning of the week, this could be the second date, and then we might start seeing something, something formalizing here. But this could really talk to us about professional communication commitments as well. Like we sit down and we talk about a book deal, we're speaking about contractual terms and conditions and so forth. But on a relationship level, we might be restructuring our partnership based on that, based on agreements. Like, this is how we should be focusing on fun or children or daily habits and so forth. It really feels like that this is a deal potentially that is aligning with your heart as well as with your strategic growth. I think it's a lot of clarity about your path ahead and what you are meant to be doing coming up. I think you have been analyzing your relationship for a while. Now we might need to be working on how to regenerate the connection between you and the partner. Now, I would like to remind you that I believe it's important that you listen to the general forecast as well, because I'm giving you the sensitive degrees in there. I'm giving you all the info that you need to figure out exactly what part of your chart gets triggered. Because remember, only the most important aspect for you is, which is actually connecting with your natal chart. But I think this week might be bringing you exciting and positive changes connected to relationship, but just be open-minded. Be willing to take a risk. Um, don't close yourself away from potentially making these surprising new connections because they can be opening new doors for you. They can be giving you these fresh perspectives on life. And maybe this person is going to be someone who is going to tell you that you are capable of achieving anything that you want. Maybe you just need that cosmic push. Maybe you need to believe yourself, that you are capable. Maybe you just need to free yourself up from certain type of unhealthy habits and way of thinking. Maybe you're just gonna have to set clearer boundaries with people who might be limiting somehow your freedom. Heavy fifth house indication indicates fun, glamour, joy. So this is what you have to be asking yourself. Do I enjoy my life? And what can I do to make it better? And what type of fun can I introduce into my life so that it all comes together in the bestest possible way? The negative side of that fifth house is that we're just sacrificing ourselves for others and children, and that's the house of self-esteem as well. So we might feel just a little child, stuck in an adult body. And of course, the Jupiter and Mars trine will not work out. And then we might escape into drugs and alcohol and sex and being clingy and so forth. Then this energy wouldn't play out in the greatest way. So good luck, Scorpio, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.